In the silent, unyielding expanse of space, the warship Eternity's Edge drifted near a dying star, its once proud hull scarred by the passage of countless battles. The ship, now a ghostly relic of a bygone era, bore the marks of cosmic violence, rifts in its metallic skin and burnished patches where stellar winds had stripped away protective layers. Amid the chaotic swirl of cosmic debris, the warship floated like a wounded leviathan, its fate intertwined with the fading light of a dying sun. The star itself, a gargantuan sphere of dying fire, cast a dim, eerie glow across the void, as if mourning the loss of its former brilliance. Its last rays, weak and trembling, reached out like the hands of a forgotten deity, caressing the battered vessel and illuminating scars that spoke of valor and despair. This forlorn light was the only witness to the remnants of a war that had consumed galaxies and shattered worlds. Aboard Eternity's Edge, the corridors were filled with the hushed whispers of history. The walls, embedded with relics from past conflicts, seemed to murmur tales of sacrifice and fleeting glory. Every dent and burn mark was a silent testament to the countless lives lost and the unyielding resolve of those who had fought to preserve a spark of hope in the darkness. Here, amidst the mechanical labyrinth, the ship carried the weight of a forgotten promise, a promise of survival against insurmountable odds. The historical context of this intergalactic conflict was etched into the very fabric of the ship. Long ago, when the human frontier was still brimming with optimism and untapped potential, an alien empire had risen from the depths of the cosmos. This empire, with its relentless ambition and cold logic, had swept through solar systems like a tidal wave, leaving behind a trail of broken dreams and obliterated civilizations. Humanity had rallied in defiance, and battles erupted across the stars, each confrontation more desperate than the last. Now, as the remnants of that once glorious resistance clung to survival, Eternity's Edge stood as both a sanctuary and a tomb, a final bastion for those who dared to defy fate. The atmosphere within the warship was thick with the residue of past conflicts. In dimly lit compartments, flickering holographic displays cast ghostly images of long-faded victories and bitter defeats. The air, recycled yet heavy with unspoken memories, carried a lingering chill that matched the cold expanse outside. Crew quarters, now quiet and somber, were dotted with personal mementos, a faded photograph here, a scuffed medal there, each item a relic of a lost era, evoking the emotional toll of endless battles and a ceaseless march of time. As the warship traversed the barren sector, every creaking panel and groaning joint seemed to echo with the collective sorrow and defiant spirit of those who had once manned its decks. The past was not merely a memory, it was a living, breathing force, woven into the ship's very core. And as the dying star's light wavered, so too did the hopes of a forgotten generation, suspended in the twilight between legacy and oblivion. Thus, in the vast, indifferent silence of space, the stage was set, a solitary vessel adrift on the edge of extinction, carrying within it the embers of a bygone war and the haunting promise of a final, desperate stand. A low, persistent hum vibrated through the corridors of Eternity's Edge as the warship cut silently through the void, its destiny entwined with the approaching storm. In the command center, a chamber illuminated by the cool glow of holographic interfaces, Commander Alexei Voss stood before a sprawling star map. The display pulsed with coded signals and flickering sectors of deep space, each representing both hope and impending doom. The quiet murmur of urgent communications filled the room as the ship's intelligence officer, Lieutenant Marachon, reported in. "Commander, we've intercepted anomalous readings near the outer rim," she announced, her voice steady despite the tension that rippled through the crew. "Preliminary analysis suggests enemy movement, large-scale deployments that hint at an imminent full-scale assault." Voss's eyes, hardened by years of battle and haunted by memories of past losses, narrowed with determination. "Prepare the reconnaissance drones," Voss ordered, voice resolute yet betraying a hint of personal pain. The command center became a hive of activity as personnel moved with a precise, almost choreographed urgency. Each individual, hardened by years of conflict, knew the stakes were higher than ever before. As the drones launched into the black expanse, Voss allowed a rare moment of introspection. They recalled the days when hope burned brightly across the fleet, a time when every star held promise rather than despair. But now, with humanity teetering on the brink of extinction, the weight of command pressed down like an iron shroud. Every decision carried the potential to tip the balance between survival and oblivion. The holographic star map shifted as the drones relayed their findings. A massive armada of alien vessels, sleek and ominous, was converging on a sector known only to a handful of strategists. The realization struck the crew like a cold gust in a vacuum. The enemy was mobilizing, and the window for action was closing rapidly. The silent alarm that had been embedded in their daily routines now roared to life, an unmistakable call to arms. In a private moment away from the constant flurry of tactical briefings, Voss retreated to a secluded observation bay. Here, framed by the shimmering backdrop of distant nebulas, they allowed the memories of past battles and lost comrades to surface. The reflections were bittersweet, a testament to sacrifices made and the heavy cost of leadership. The call to arms was not just a military maneuver. It was a summons to honor those who had fallen and to fight for the future of a battered humanity. Back in the command center, a senior officer, Commander Rafe Idris, approached Voss with a measured tone. "Commander, the scouts confirm it. The enemy fleet is too large to be a mere probing force. They're planning an all-out offensive," he reported, the gravity of his words echoing in the charged air. Voss met Idris's gaze with unwavering resolve. "Then we prepare for battle. Every crew member, every system aboard this ship must be ready for what comes next," Voss declared, the decision resounding through the room like a rallying cry. The dialogue that ensued was brisk and laden with urgency, as each officer confirmed their stations, recalibrated weapons systems, and updated battle protocols. In those terse exchanges lay the unspoken truth. The survival of not only Eternity's Edge, but of the human spirit itself depended on the unity and courage of every soul on board. As the chapter of hesitation ended and the march toward confrontation began, the warship vibrated with a sense of imminent destiny. The call to arms was clear, a summons to reclaim what was lost, to forge a path through the encroaching darkness, and to rally against an enemy that threatened to extinguish the final embers of hope. In that moment, as the echoes of impending war reverberated through the halls of Eternity's Edge, Commander Voss and the crew steeled themselves for the battles that lay ahead, each heartbeat a defiant refusal to surrender to despair. Deep within the labyrinthine corridors of Eternity's Edge, a chamber lay hidden behind layers of reinforced bulkheads, a relic of forgotten ambitions and forbidden technology. In this secluded sanctum, dimly lit by the faint pulse of archaic reactors, the secret that could alter the course of the intergalactic war was preserved like a dormant storm. Commander Alexei Voss, driven by equal parts determination and trepidation, led a small, hand-picked team into the chamber. Their footsteps echoed against cold metal walls, each step resonating with the weight of centuries of clandestine research. The air was thick with the hum of dormant machinery, and the soft glow of diagnostic panels revealed sketches and schematics of a weapon so advanced that its mere existence had been shrouded in mystery and half-whispered legends. As Voss approached the central console, their eyes fell upon a holographic display that suddenly sprang to life, projecting three-dimensional models of an intricate energy matrix. The secret weapon, codenamed Prometheus, was more than just a superweapon. It was a technological marvel designed to harness the very forces of a dying star, converting stellar energy into a concentrated beam capable of shattering enemy fleets. Yet, the display revealed not only its power but also its peril. The weapon was inherently unstable, a double-edged sword that could either turn the tide of battle or doom its wielder in a cataclysm of uncontrolled energy. The room seemed to breathe as Voss's mind raced. Every flicker of the hologram was a reminder of the countless nights spent poring over classified data and the silent prayers for a miracle. In that moment, the cold logic of warfare clashed with a visceral understanding of the risks involved. Could they unleash such power without courting their own destruction? The answer was veiled in uncertainty, But the escalating threat posed by Supreme Overlord Zervatha's forces left no room for hesitation. Over the console, Lieutenant Mara Chen joined Voss, her steady hands dancing over the interface as she began to run simulations. Commander, the energy matrix is remarkably sensitive. A miscalculation by even a fraction of a percent could trigger a chain reaction, she cautioned, her voice a blend of scientific precision and underlying worry. The simulation painted a stark picture. The weapon could provide a decisive advantage, but at the cost of risking the structural integrity of the warship itself. As the duo delved deeper into the technicalities, Voss's thoughts turned inward. Each calculation and adjustment on the hologram recalled memories of past missions where failure meant not just defeat, but the erasure of hope. The revelation of Prometheus was as much a burden as it was a beacon, a secret entrusted to the warship's inner sanctum, guarded by those who understood that its power could either be humanity's salvation or its ultimate undoing. The chamber, filled with the ambient hum of ancient machinery, transformed into a confessional of technological ambition and the raw, unyielding reality of war. The silence was punctuated by Mara's measured commentary and Voss's occasional, pensive interjections, each word layered with the gravity of their discovery. In that small, secretive space, the fate of countless lives hung delicately on the balance between innovation and chaos. As the simulation concluded, the final readings displayed on the hologram affirmed what Voss had long suspected. Prometheus was the key to turning the tides of battle, yet it came with a cost that was impossible to ignore. The revelation sparked a profound internal conflict, a battle between the desperate need to fight back against the alien onslaught and the fear of unleashing a force that could consume them all. In the silent aftermath of the discovery, Commander Voss stood before the glowing schematics, their face illuminated by the eerie light of the secret weapon. With a mixture of steely resolve and quiet resignation, they acknowledged the duality of their mission: to harness Prometheus, not only to deliver a crippling blow to the enemy, but also to risk everything in the pursuit of a future where hope could once again burn brightly in the darkness of space. Thus, beneath the warship's scarred exterior, the secrets beneath the hull whispered a promise of both salvation and doom, a promise that would define the next desperate gambit in humanity's struggle for survival. Within the labyrinthine corridors of Eternity's Edge, tension simmered like ionized gas in a containment field. As the warship hurtled through the dark expanse, the controlled chaos of the command center belied an undercurrent of unrest that threatened to fracture the crew's unity. In the strategic glow of holographic battle maps and tactical readouts, voices began to rise, quiet murmurs that soon escalated into pointed disagreements. Late into the cycle, in a cramped briefing room tucked away from the prying eyes of routine surveillance, a heated council was convened. Commander Alexei Voss, the steady hand that had long commanded respect, found their authority quietly questioned by a cadre of officers whose nerves were frayed by the relentless pressure of the impending offensive. Among them was Lieutenant Idris, whose calculated pragmatism clashed with the idealism of some, and a few dissenting voices whose loyalty was tempered by fear and frustration. "We can't keep risking the lives of our crew on a gamble with Prometheus," argued a senior tactical officer, his voice low yet insistent, as he gestured sharply at the schematics projected on the central display. His words, filled with the weight of personal loss and hardened by past failures, resonated in the stifling air of the room. "Every calculation shows that one misstep could mean our doom, both for the warship and for the remnants of our people." Across the table, Mara Chun, her face illuminated by the glow of her portable console, interjected with a calm, analytical tone. "The simulations are clear," she explained, "but they also show a narrow window where the weapon can be controlled. Our challenge is to tighten our protocols before the enemy's assault leaves us no choice." Her measured approach, though reassuring to some, only added another layer of complexity to an already volatile discussion. Amid the unfolding debate, whispers of mistrust began to intertwine with memories of past glories and tragedies. Commander Voss listened as criticisms and cautionary tales mingled, a narrative of sacrifice that had once unified the crew, now fraying under the strain of uncertainty. Each dissenting opinion was a reminder of the heavy burdens borne by those who had seen too many friends fall in the chaos of war. In a private corridor away from the formal proceedings, Voss encountered a small cluster of disillusioned crew members gathered around a flickering terminal. Their eyes, clouded with fatigue and a quiet despair, betrayed a growing fear that the promise of salvation might instead become a death sentence. One crewman, his voice trembling with barely contained anger, confided, "We trusted you to lead us out of darkness, but if this weapon destroys us, what hope is left for anyone?" The words stung like a plasma lash, a poignant echo of the very doubts that Voss wrestled with in solitude. It was in these hushed, desperate moments that the gravity of the situation crystallized. This was not merely a debate over technology or tactics, but a profound reckoning with the limits of human resolve and the price of survival. Every voice in dissent was a reflection of a shattered ideal, a silent scream in the vast emptiness of space. Back in the warship's command center, as tactical plans were recalibrated and orders issued with a brisk efficiency that belied the simmering discord, Voss convened a final meeting with the senior staff. Under the stern glow of emergency lights, the commander laid bare the harsh realities. The alien forces were converging at an unprecedented pace, and the ship's window to strike back was closing. With each measured word, Voss sought to stitch together a tapestry of collective determination from the frayed threads of dissent. "Every challenge we face is compounded by the risks we must take," Voss declared, voice resonant and unyielding. "I understand your fears. They are the scars of our past battles. But the enemy does not wait for our doubts. We must trust in our training, in our technology, and, most importantly, in each other. Our unity is our greatest weapon, and without it, all our sacrifices are in vain." The room fell into a heavy silence, a momentary pause where the shared weight of responsibility settled over them all. Though uncertainty still flickered in many eyes, there was a dawning recognition that dissent, when tempered with resolve, could forge a more cautious but unified path forward. As the meeting adjourned and the crew dispersed back to their stations, the undercurrents of discord began to coalesce into a renewed, if fragile, camaraderie, each member silently recommitting to the dangerous gambit that lay ahead. Thus, amidst the looming threat of annihilation, the seeds of dissent were both sown and reaped, a necessary, if painful, crucible in which the mettle of humanity was being tested, and the resolve of those aboard Eternity's Edge was forged anew. As the warship Eternity's Edge surged deeper into hostile territory, the void transformed into a theater of impending war. The command center, once a sanctuary of strategic deliberations, now buzzed with a palpable tension as every sensor and display registered the enemy's advance. Across the vast, star-studded canvas, an armada of sleek, alien vessels materialized, each one a dark reflection of technological mastery and ruthless intent. In the midst of this mounting pressure, Commander Alexei Voss stood before a colossal holographic map that stretched across the command center's wall. Its pulsing lights traced the enemy fleet's trajectory, revealing a formation both terrifying in its precision and mesmerizing in its scale. The display rendered the unknown as something almost tangible, a living, advancing beast poised to strike at the very heart of humanity's last bastion. "Maintain formation and prepare for intercept," Voss commanded, their voice steady yet imbued with the gravity of the moment. The order resonated like a battle hymn, galvanizing the crew into a synchronized rhythm of urgent activity. Tactical officers adjusted their stations, calibrating weapon systems and fortifying shields as the ship's engineers worked feverishly to optimize the performance of Prometheus, the secret weapon that now loomed as both hope and peril. In the corridors outside the command center, murmurs of determination mixed with silent prayers. Crew members, each bearing the scars of previous skirmishes, readied themselves for the inevitable clash. The ambient hum of the ship transformed into a symphony of mechanical precision. The soft clatter of control panels, the rapid tapping of fingers on command consoles, and the hushed dialogue among battle-hardened veterans filled the air. At the helm, Lieutenant Mara Chen's fingers danced across a floating interface, fine-tuning sensor arrays and relaying real-time updates. "Commander, Enemy formations are splitting into two main groups, she announced, her tone clinical yet laced with urgency. The data painted a picture of calculated aggression, a dual-pronged assault designed to encircle and overwhelm the warship. Voss's eyes narrowed as they absorbed the unfolding strategy. Then we meet them head-on, the commander declared. Divert power to the forward cannons and initiate countermeasures. We will not allow them the luxury of surprise. The orders were sharp and decisive, a stark contrast to the earlier whispers of dissent that had plagued the ship. Now, every officer's focus was singular, united by the looming certainty of conflict. Outside the reinforced viewports, the enemy fleet loomed like a vast, inexorable tide. The alien vessels, their hulls glistening with otherworldly alloys, sliced through the darkness in disciplined ranks. In that critical moment, the battle lines were drawn, not only in space but within the hearts of those aboard Eternity's Edge. Each individual, whether at the helm or deep within the ship's engineering bays, felt the weight of the coming storm, their resolve steeled by the knowledge that failure was not an option. Amid the orchestrated chaos, brief but potent exchanges of dialogue captured the essence of the moment. "All systems green," reported an officer with unwavering precision, echoing across the radio channels like the calm before the storm. "Enemy vectors confirmed." "Engaging at my mark," came another, the tension in their voice betraying a silent promise to hold the line. In these exchanges, the air was charged with the collective courage of a crew prepared to defy the darkness, no matter the cost. As the first enemy volleys began to illuminate the void with ferocious bursts of energy, the warship shuddered under the impact. Sparks danced along the hull, and alarms sang out their urgent warnings, yet amid the tumult, a profound determination held sway. The clash was imminent, a collision of titanic forces where every decision could tip the balance between annihilation and redemption. Within the command center, Voss allowed a fleeting moment to consider the gravity of their role. Here, in the crucible of impending war, the captain's unwavering gaze bore into the holographic map, tracing the enemy's movements with the cold precision of a seasoned warrior. The battle was not merely about firepower or strategy. It was a test of spirit, a confrontation where human resolve would be pitted against an unyielding, alien will to dominate. Thus, with the enemy's formation laid bare and the warship bristling with the hope of one final, decisive counterstrike, the stage was set. Every crew member was now a thread in the tapestry of a grand struggle, a struggle to reclaim the honor of a battered humanity and to etch their legacy in the annals of the stars. The lines had been drawn, and the imminent clash would decide not only the fate of Eternity's Edge, but of all who dared to dream of freedom amidst the void. The silence of space shattered with the violent roar of energy beams and explosive discharges as the alien armada descended upon Eternity's Edge. The warship, already braced against the weight of countless battles, now found itself at the very precipice of oblivion. In the command center, every sensor beep and flickering readout bore witness to the chaos unfolding outside. A frenetic ballet of light and destruction played out against the backdrop of a dying star. Lieutenant Mara Chen's fingers flew over the controls as she relayed real-time tactical updates. "Commander, the enemy has initiated their main barrage. Incoming fire from multiple vectors." Her voice, resolute and steady despite the pandemonium, cut through the cacophony of alarms and mechanical groans. The holographic map illuminated with jagged bursts of red, each indicator a harbinger of potential annihilation. Commander Alexei Voss, standing at the helm of this desperate struggle, exuded a calm born from years of crisis. Their eyes, reflecting both determination and the haunting memory of past sacrifices, swept over the chaotic display. "Divert all power to the forward cannons and initiate the countermeasures protocol," Voss ordered, voice resonating with unyielding authority. "Activate Prometheus, now." Deep within the hidden chamber where Prometheus lay dormant, engineers and technicians scrambled to awaken the colossal weapon. Sparks flew and circuits hummed in a fevered symphony of urgency as the warship's aged yet resilient systems responded to the call. The secret weapon, its core pulsating with captured stellar energy, began a slow, dangerous ramp-up. Its unstable brilliance promised salvation even as it posed the threat of uncontrollable devastation. Outside, the warship's hull shuddered under the relentless assault. Alien projectiles, sleek and merciless, collided with the reinforced plating, ripping through the void and sending shards of energy scattering like dying embers. The star's feeble glow was now overpowered by the fierce light of laser fire and explosive detonations, each burst a grim reminder of the stakes at hand. In the midst of this chaos, a sudden transmission crackled over the intercom, a voice from the enemy, cold and unfeeling. "Your resistance is futile, Commander. Surrender now, and we may yet spare your legacy." For a brief, suspended moment, silence gripped the command center as the words echoed through the minds of every crew member. Then, with a defiant snarl, Voss responded, "We will fight until every spark of humanity is extinguished from your grasp." The battle reached a fevered pitch as Prometheus came fully online. Its core, a vortex of condensed energy harvested from the dying star, surged with an almost sentient fury. Commander Voss issued the final order: "Release the beam." With that, a searing column of pure, radiant energy burst forth from the warship's bow, streaking across the void like a comet of retribution. The beam, both awe-inspiring and terrifying, cleaved through the enemy ranks, reducing sleek vessels to smoldering debris in its incandescent wake. Yet, the weapon's power was as dangerous as it was magnificent. The energy discharge reverberated through eternity's edge, sending shockwaves that rattled every compartment. Crew members clutched their stations, eyes wide with a mixture of hope and dread, as the line between salvation and self-destruction blurred into a singular, heart-stopping moment. Throughout the maelstrom, the warship's defense systems held their ground against the alien onslaught. Every burst of counterfire, every defiant volley from the human side, was a testament to their indomitable spirit. In the midst of combat, quiet exchanges between officers, urgent commands, last-minute recalibrations, and brief words of encouragement told a story of shared resolve, a crew united by the desperate need to endure even as the abyss yawned wide before them. As the beam of Prometheus carved a path of destruction through the alien fleet, the dying star's last light flickered, as if in silent tribute to the colossal gamble that had been taken. In that critical, suspended instant, the warship stood at the crossroads of fate, a beacon of defiant hope in the vast, indifferent darkness of space, daring the encroaching void to extinguish its flame. The assault on the abyss was more than a clash of metal and energy. It was a crucible where the future of humanity was being forged in the fires of sacrifice and resolve. And as the alien vessels disintegrated into the cosmic night, Commander Voss and the brave souls aboard Eternity's edge pressed on, their hearts steeled against the uncertainty of what lay ahead, determined to transform desperate gambles into the seeds of a new dawn. In the aftermath of the relentless barrage, the cosmos held its breath. Amid the dying glow of the star, Eternity's edge limped through the remnants of shattered enemy vessels, every scar on its hull a testament to the battle's fury. The air in the command center was thick with anticipation, a palpable pause before the next, more personal conflict unfolded. Commander Alexei Voss, battle-worn yet unyielding, guided the warship into a narrow corridor between debris and cosmic chaos. Their eyes, steeled by countless confrontations, were fixed on a distant blip on the tactical display, a lone, enigmatic vessel unlike any other in the alien fleet. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, as if it carried not just the might of its master, but the very essence of the invader's cruel ambition. At that moment, a deep, resonant voice echoed over the intercom, its tone both chilling and regal. "Commander Voss, you have persisted in defiance for too long. Your resistance is now at an end." The voice belonged to Supreme Overlord Zervith, a figure whose presence, both omnipresent and spectral, had haunted every step of the war. The command center fell into a hush, every crew member acutely aware that this was not merely another tactical command, but the prelude to an epic-defining duel. Voss's jaw tightened as they activated the ship's communication link to the enemy vessel. "Zervith," the commander replied, voice measured yet laden with the scars of past losses, "your tyranny ends tonight." We will not be cowed into surrender. The tension between them was instantaneous, a collision of ideologies and wills, each word charged with the gravity of histories written in blood and sacrifice. Without warning, the warship's forward viewports shuddered as the alien vessel drew nearer, its form coming into focus. It was sleek, almost predatory in its design, with an aura of ancient power that defied the conventional laws of warfare. As the vessel closed the distance, a series of holographic projections erupted before Voss, displaying a montage of victories, conquests, and the cold, calculated ambition of Zervath's empire. The confrontation reached its zenith when the alien vessel's bridge came into full view. In a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, Commander Voss and Supreme Overlord Zervath faced each other across the void, a silent tableau of defiance and dominion. Through a sophisticated interstellar link, Zervath's face materialized on the central display. Their features were angular and austere, eyes glowing with an alien light that conveyed both intellectual supremacy and a ruthless resolve. "Your efforts are futile, human," Zervath intoned, voice smooth as liquid night. "Your warship, your people, they are but fleeting sparks destined to be snuffed out by the relentless march of my empire." Every word dripped with a venomous certainty that threatened to undermine the fragile hope kindled by resistance. Voss's response was a blend of defiant resolve and raw emotion. "Perhaps," they replied, voice steady despite the weight of countless memories, "but it is our spark that lights the darkness, that challenges the infinite void. Today, I stand not only for myself, but for every soul that dares to dream of freedom." The commander's words resonated with a mix of sorrow, anger, and the unyielding drive of survival, a declaration that even in the face of cosmic might, humanity would never surrender its light. The dialogue crackled with the intensity of clashing worlds. In that pivotal moment, tactical sensors registered a renewed energy surge, the culmination of Prometheus's power, now directed in a final, desperate gambit. The projection on the bridge displayed swirling energies that bridged the gap between the warship and the alien craft, each pulse of light echoing the rhythm of a heartbeat destined for reckoning. The air around them seemed to vibrate with the impending collision of destinies. Both commanders, embodiments of their respective legacies, readied themselves for the decisive act. It was not simply a clash of weapons, but of philosophies, a moment where personal vendettas intertwined with the broader fate of galaxies. With a synchronized command that transcended language, the stage was set for an epic confrontation where every decision carried the weight of a universe on the brink of transformation. As the final preparations unfolded, every crew member on Eternity's edge braced for what might be the final stand of humanity against an unyielding empire. The confrontation at the edge of darkness was not merely a battle. It was the crucible in which the future would be forged, one spark of defiance against the overwhelming tide of domination. In the eerie silence that followed the cataclysmic showdown, the remnants of Eternity's edge floated amid a scattered graveyard of enemy vessels. The once deafening roars of battle had dwindled to a mournful hum, replaced by the quiet crackle of damaged circuits and the soft, labored breaths of a battered crew. As the warship limped through the debris of a vanquished fleet, the echoes of sacrifice reverberated through its corridors, a somber hymn to the price paid for freedom. Commander Alexei Voss stood on the bridge, their gaze fixed on the vast tapestry of space where remnants of light and shadow wove a story of loss and hope. The holographic star map now glowed with irregular pulses, each a marker of what had been won and what had been lost. In that reflective moment, the full weight of the battle's cost settled upon Voss. The faces of fallen comrades, the unspoken promises of survival, and the burden of decisions made in the crucible of war. Within the ship, the crew moved with a newfound solemnity. Conversations were hushed, laden with gratitude for each small victory and tempered by the grief of comrades who would not see another dawn. In the mess hall, a lone photograph of a lost friend was carefully placed beside a cup of recycled water, a quiet tribute amidst the metallic clamor of survival. Every corner of Eternity's edge whispered stories of valor and sacrifice, weaving individual threads into the broader tapestry of humanity's relentless fight against oppression. Deep in the engineering bay, Lieutenant Mara Chun and her team labored to stabilize the volatile remnants of Prometheus. The secret weapon, whose ferocious energy had carved a path through enemy lines, now pulsed with a subdued, yet potent glow, an emblem of both devastation and rebirth. As engineers recalibrated and fortified the ship's aging systems, there emerged an unspoken consensus. The weapon, though dangerous, had proven its worth, and its legacy would guide the next chapter of human resistance. In the command center, Commander Voss convened a final meeting with senior officers. Under the subdued light of flickering consoles, Voss addressed the assembled leaders. "Today, we have stared into the abyss and refused to yield our light," Voss declared, voice resonant with both triumph and melancholy. "Our sacrifices have not been in vain. Though we carry scars that will never fade, they are the marks of a people who dared to defy tyranny. Now, we must build from these ashes a future where hope can flourish once more." As the crew began to rebuild, not just their vessel, but the spirit that had sustained them through endless battles, hints of renewal emerged amid the wreckage. A tender green shoot sprouted through a fissure in the recycled air system, a subtle yet powerful metaphor for life reclaiming its place in the void. It was a sign that even in the depths of despair, the promise of new beginnings could take root. Across the warship, moments of quiet reflection intertwined with plans for reconstruction. Crews gathered to share stories of resilience, and a palpable unity filled the spaces once marred by discord. The ordeal had forged an unbreakable bond among them, a commitment to rise stronger from the ashes of defeat. With the alien threat subdued, at least for now, the focus shifted from survival to revival, a mission to reclaim the stars for all those who still dared to dream. In the final hours of the day, as eternity's edge charted a course towards a distant, unclaimed system ripe for new beginnings, Commander Voss retreated to the observation deck. There, beneath a sky dusted with unfamiliar constellations, Voss allowed a moment of vulnerable introspection. The silence of space, now punctuated by the soft hum of hope, carried the promise of renewal, a reminder that even after the darkest battles, the dawn would always break. The journey ahead was uncertain, fraught with the challenges of rebuilding and the ever-present memories of loss. Yet, in that fragile glow of the emerging light, there lay a steadfast determination, a belief that from the ruins of war, humanity could forge a destiny defined not by the scars of its past, but by the promise of a brighter future. The crew of Eternity's Edge had witnessed the downfall of an empire and the triumph of the human spirit. As they set their course for uncharted realms, every heartbeat echoed with the resolute declaration that hope, like the stars themselves, would endure.